Yes, people, welcome back to Albert JTV. Match review time. Arsenal nil, Brighton and Hove Albion 3. Plenty to talk about. But before we get into it, let's smash the intro. Footballing community. You should know what to do by now. Like, share, and subscribe. Welcome back to Albert JTV. A social media platform. Know what you're talking about. And what I mean by that is goals, ESR and Saka have done well. They've done okay. They've done well. Yes, people, welcome back to Albert JTV. Match review time, Monday evening. Arsenal nil, Brighton 3. In the title, Arsenal run out of steam. People, the obligatories as normal. Smash the like button, subscribe to Albert JTV, share this live stream as we speak, people. Twitter, Facebook, and of course, watch this live on YouTube. Yeah, man. The evening after the day before, man. A lot to talk about. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. Actually, I'm sure you can. But drop your hellos in the chat as we speak, and we'll try and dissect the match yesterday that took place at the Emirates. Yeah, man. And my sort of initial thoughts really is I was at the game yesterday, and I said this to a few Arsenal fans in recent weeks, and when I met them on the night when we played Chelsea on the 2nd of May, and for myself, like going to the ground was, yeah, and I sort of getting there, it just the atmosphere just felt really, really flat then, because obviously what happened with the game before that, but and I think the Arsenal fans have probably felt like that for a little while because these last 6-7 weeks in terms of the games we've played have not really gone how we would have liked. And to be honest, it shouldn't really. It shouldn't really. There's no foregone conclusion, or you haven't got the divine right to win football matches because you've got to go and put the work in. Sometimes you get a little bit of luck. But yeah, sort of leaving that game yesterday. I think a lot of the Arsenal fans were just shell shocked, to be honest with you, and that's not in a disrespectful way to Brighton because we knew kind of 7-8 games out. You look at the fixtures, you look at where your teams can pick up points and if they can extend the lead and where they can get a draw and a win and all this kind of things. And Brighton was always going to be a tough game, man. You know what? They've consolidated themselves well since they've been back in the Premier League. Really, Chris Hughton done a lot of groundwork there. Graham Potter took it over and did well. Obviously, Roberto De Zerbi is there now and he's doing a fantastic job. And as I said yesterday, and sort of doing a quick reaction, put it on the socials that Brighton beat us last season at the Emirates. Was there for that. I think it was April 9th last year. Last year, going for a top 4 race, and again that was a pivotal result in terms of why we never got it. They beat us 2-1, and they deserved to win that game. They beat us in the Carabao Cup game. I was there for that one earlier in the season. Again, deserved to beat us. And again yesterday, 3-0. They deserve to win. Especially that second half. We were just we were passed off the park. They kept the ball brilliantly, but we sort of go into it. And I know people have spoken a lot about the Man City game being, a few hours before and then winning, and maybe the Arsenal players in their minds have kind of given up or the belief had disappeared. But I go back to what I say. I mean, you win your game, you win your games, right? We get told, what you can call it PR if you want, with a lot of interviews you see in the week and the lead up to games, and we're concentrating on ourselves. We take each game as it comes, and I hope that was the mindset because if it wasn't, then that'd be a concern, wouldn't it? Because you are in a title race and you've led, we've been top of the table for a large chunk of the season, but pressure does serious things, man. and it has been a massive case of pressure. But I also mentioned this again yesterday. Defensive inconsistencies, man, have been critical to why we've not won this league title. 100%. The goals for column looks pretty healthy in terms of the league. We haven't struggled to score goals this season. I think the game yesterday, if I've got this right, people let me know, drop in the chat or whatever it is. I think that's only the second game at home this season we haven't scored. The other game was Newcastle. We draw 0-0 at home. But yeah, I think that's only the second game this season we failed to score a goal at the Emirates. Second home defeat this season. And yeah, like I said, I think a lot of Arsenal fans, yeah, and obviously myself, I just was shell shocked and stunned really with the second half performance. We sort of dip into the first half, and I don't know what you guys felt, but I actually thought the first half was quite bitty because, and the reason for that is because the referee didn't set the tone for both teams in the game, because it was a case of one of them games where referees just let everything go. I mean, there was some really not great tackles that went in. And you know what? You could have easily have seen red. One for, I know that from what I could see in terms of the Martinelli challenge, it didn't look great, if I'm being honest, on Matoma, and you had the tackle by Caicedo on Gabriel Martinelli, which was not a good challenge, by the way. I couldn't believe when the referee went up to him and just gave him a little bit of a stern talking to. It was definitely a yellow card minimum. The referee set the tone for the game, and I actually think, from what, if I got this right, in terms of the stats at halftime, in terms of fouls committed, there was 17 in total. I think there was 10 from Brighton and 7 from Arsenal, and there was 1 yellow card in the first half. I mean, the referee literally let everything go. I think he set a precedent for the way that game was refereed, because he was increasingly poor. I actually thought he's the worst ref I've seen this season at the Emirates by quite far. I didn't think the ref was great against the home game against Newcastle, but yeah, I don't know what the ref's name was, but he didn't handle that game very well. I thought for either side, I thought he was poor, very, very poor. But yeah, the first half was very stop-start. I thought, I don't really particularly think either team. Brighton, like I said, they play some good stuff, man. They keep the ball well, very well drilled side. There were times in the first half we did press them well. We did press them well, but throughout that course of the match, I think Arsenal needed a handbook to tell them how to press, because it completely went out the game. There were incidents in the first half where we pressed them well, but they do play out for the back very well with Louis Colwell and Lewis Dunk. Moises Caicedo played at right back, and Estupiñán had a good season for Brighton at left back. So athleticism, pace, and power, and that's what they showed. McAllister, class act, man. Obviously a World Cup winner, but very, very good player. But Arsenal didn't. I mean, apart from obviously when Martinelli came off, that didn't look a good injury. I don't know what the prognosis has been, but I don't expect to see him for the next couple of games, to be honest with you. I think that might be season done. But I think other than that, we had the Erdegaard shot that just went wide. You had the Bukayo Saka shot where from where it looked like it was a goal, because I got up to cheer and it went wide. You had the Trossard shot that hit the bar. So there were moments, but again, for me, a very stop-start sort of first half. So there's been a few occasions this season. I don't know what it is. People, when you watch this live or you watch it back, and halftime comes, and I don't know what happens at halftime in terms of what Mikel Arteta says to this group of players, because they come out and they perform worse. Yesterday was the tip of the iceberg. I mentioned this on the fan cam and done on FTV, that this has been coming. This has been coming. If you're talking about our home form, many Arsenal fans are very well. Yes, our home record was very, very good. We score a bucket load of goals, but to only keep 3 clean sheets this season at home. Our last clean sheet at home was against Everton. Um, and I said, what's the stat? Only Southampton Leeds has conceded more goals at home. That's appalling. Um, and that was with a chunk of our Saliba being in the team, and when Tommy Tomiyasu was still fit. I don't know what it is this season. We have conceded very, very poor goals. I will concede to any team that plays amazing football and carves open your midfield and your defensive backline. If you go through when this season's done, or you maybe want to do it now, go and look at the brief highlights of Arsenal's home games this season and look at the goals and come back and tell yourself, wow, that was an amazing finish or great bit of play. Arsenal have gift wrapped and hand gifted goals away at home for fun. Top of the table, mid table, relegation part of the table. I mean, you can see the three on the Southampton. I mean, bottom of the league side. That's not right. That should not be happening. And I listen. I could sit here and do a weekly surgery clinic about why Arsenal conceding so many goals at home, and I think sort of thinking about it sort of the last 24 hours, and particularly what I've seen at home in terms of the games this season. One is concentration, and two, as confident as we may be as Arsenal fans that we have a better backline, it still needs a lot more teething. Yes, I take into account and with context, which is not really talked about in football, well, definitely not in the Twitter world anyway, when it comes to football. Oh my God. But is Saliba and Tomiyasu were big misses, man. Big misses. You got a guy that can play right back, centre back. You got your centre back in Saliba, who's been very, very good this season, and he's not the sole reason, but the injuries have curtailed us in the defensive part of it. And I think we conceded 48 goals last season in the Premier League. I think we're 42, and even that's still too high. We'll probably end up conceding less than last season, but from the position we was 6-7 weeks ago, I think I said it yesterday. I think we've conceded 16 goals in the last 7 or 8 games. You can't be doing that, man. You're going for a league title. You can't do that. Oh, it's incredibly frustrating because Arsenal missed a golden opportunity to win this Premier League, and the Liverpool game for me, where we drew 2-2, was for me it was season defining in the sense that we ain't got a good record at Anfield, but we played some beautiful football for 40 minutes. Let them get it back to 2-1, and it was just we was just camped in our own half. That was a body blow, probably mentally, but you pick yourselves up again because obviously, I remember sort of speaking about this. You got West Ham, you got Southampton, win those games, go to Etihad, 9 points ahead. You can afford to lose and it still be in your hands. That was the thought process. But then West Ham happened, 2-0 up, 2-2. Southampton happened. I think I still got PTSD from watching that Southampton game. Even my club level experience was spoiled. But yeah, that was a shock to the system yesterday. That was Arsenal running out of steam. The petrol in the tank was running low. And I said this at the time. I was sitting next to the two guys either side of me at the game yesterday, and I said that what I did was when we conceded the first goal, for example, poor God, I mean, you don't win the first phase from Brighton's attack. You win the second phase, and it was literally like Madame Tussauds in the box. Nobody moved, and I've seen it back. I watched it back about 3 or 4 times that first goal. I know Kivior, what was he's got his foot trodden on or whatever it was. You gotta be more firm than that, man. And I saw the interview afterwards when he spoke, and listen, you'll learn very quickly, man, whether that be his English or the way defenders defend because or the way strikers attack defenders. Because let me tell you something, Jacko Kivior, man. You lucky you ain't playing. You're lucky you're not defending the days of the likes of Kevin Gamble and then and Duncan Ferguson than you, because you would know about striker play, man. Trust me. But that was a horrible first goal to concede. They just stood there, like you see with strikers. They come alive in the box. They react quicker. Defenders have got to do the same when they're defending, and that was poor from Arsenal. Very, very poor. A guy that's probably about 5'9" scores. I just couldn't believe what I was watching. And I watched them when that goal went in, and the ball's taken back to the centre circle, and even run it another minute, 2 minutes on when we restart. I looked at the Arsenal players specifically. I wasn't even looking at the patches of play. I was looking at the Arsenal players in particular. And for me, they were gone mentally. They were gone mentally. I watched it. I said, I'm thinking, I don't think these guys have got the stomach to get this back. It's not through any fault of not trying, but there was a really sinking feeling looking at them players in that when that first goal went in yesterday. You kind of said to yourself, you know what? I think probably mentally these guys have been gone for a few weeks. But when I saw that first goal go in, and I looked at the Arsenal players, I said, you know what? These guys are mentally gone. Absolutely. Who's in the chat? Yes. Go on, the Keith. Keith, smash the like button, man. Good to see you in the chat, my guy, man. Keith, love you to pieces, man. So yeah, I mean, sort of talking to the fans, after the game, but I'll come back to. Let me go out to the game. So yeah, I thought Arsenal were gone in the first goal. And then the chasing, and I look at it and I think to myself, how many times did Arsenal trouble David Steele, the Brighton goalkeeper? Even if you watch the game back again, you watched 30-minute highlights, you watched 2-minute highlights, we didn't work that goalkeeper once. And when you're in this position Arsenal are in the league, going into a game there's a must-win, not good enough. Facts. Got to work their goalkeeper. I mean, I've got the possession stats. Let me have a quick look, people. So Brighton 59% possession. Arsenal 41% possession. Arsenal 14 shots. Brighton 12 shots. Arsenal 2 on target out of 14. Wow. Shots on target. Brighton 6. 5 corners to Arsenal. Brighton 2 corners. 30 fouls committed in the entire game. And I don't know how many players got booked. You guys have to tell me, because I don't understand what the referee was doing. But 30 fouls conceded, man. 17 from Brighton, 13 from Arsenal. Wow. Let's have a look. Jenny, love you, Jenny. Good to see you in the chat. Thank you. Yeah, listen, 6 shots in the first half, put 2 away, job done. Yeah, our shooting boots went on. That Saka one, I actually went up thinking he scored, which was a grave mistake to make as a fan, people. When you think it's in, and it's not. So, like I said, second half there's been a few games this season where I don't know what's been said at halftime, but the players come out worse. The second goal, I mean, what is going on? It was Trossard, wasn't it? He tried to flick it round the corner. The ball ricochets to what's the guy's name again? I forgot his name. Is it Pandev? Was it for Brighton? It's 2-0, game over. And then you just saw whoever was at the game yesterday, people in the chat or people watching this live, there was a mass exodus when that second goal went in. It was done. It was absolutely done. Got a picture of Kivior and Lyle Ferguson's a big unit for night. The kid's 19. I said, wow, massive. Jeez, man. But yeah, 2-0. It became, you could play musical chairs in the Emirates when that second goal went in, because most of them were gone. And I just think they probably thought, you know what, title's done. We're off. You can listen. We can argue the toss about fans leaving early. That's quite an ever-going, ongoing debate. So, you can't staple people to their chairs. I get the ticket thing. People want to go and watch Arsenal, but listen, that's how it is. Unfortunately, that's how it is. It's not ideal, but what can you do? And then I must admit, it's tough because you know what? He's thinking himself. He's thinking to himself, "It's done. It's done. The game's done." Um, and surely it can't get any worse. And it did. They got the third goal. I mean, Ramsdale makes a save, parries it out. Still got a bit of work to do. Smash, knocks it into the ground. Was it did a stupid? Is it a stupid on the left back got the goal? I think it was 3-0. And you're like, wow. Um, what's there to say? What is there to say? Um, I said it yesterday. I thought yesterday's game was a culmination of what we've seen in the last 5 or 6 weeks. It was the tip of the iceberg, icing on the cake, whatever phrase you want to use. Saka, I love Bukayo Saka. I've never seen him play such a poor game for Arsenal in the last 2-3 years. He got the ball, he tried to take on he would lose it. The passing, the link up play, the tracking, everything went wrong. And I was shocked when he took off in terms of the substitutions because people were spoken about Arteta's game management and the substitutions. I was very surprised he took off Martin Odegaard. I'm not saying that because Martin Odegaard was playing fantastically well. I just was very surprised that he kept Bukayo Saka on. Yeah, I was quite surprised to be honest with you. But I think sort of yeah, exactly. He was like a fried drill in the Emirates yesterday. Honestly, it was. But people in the chat, smash a like button if you haven't already. I know Jenny subscribed enough and Keith subscribed as well, so I don't need to tell you guys, but I think there's not much else to say in regards to the game, but I've got an image of the players and it's like I mentioned it about the first goal. They just look gone. And I think most people probably sensed that in the stadium. There was sort of a realization that, yeah, the pressure of City, the pressure of being in a league title race. Most of these guys have not experienced this in the Arsenal side, which is a key factor when you're going for a league title. And as I mentioned in the title, Arsenal ran out of steam, man. Which a lot of people are going to say Arsenal ran out of steam. You know, we weren't in any domestic cup competitions. We got knocked out of Europe. We had one game a week, and the players look tired, and that's quite damning. Yeah, I get it. We ain't got the biggest squad. I know. I definitely know that. But a lot of these guys, they just look shot, man. They look shot. I listened to some of the commentary in terms of when I got home, and a little bit later this afternoon, we listened to Roy Keane and Patrick Vieira, and also Michael Richards and Gary Neville having a debate. I gotta be honest, right? I don't know what you guys think. I listened to Gary Neville, and it's part of me. I just find him. I just find him a little bit condescending, man. The way he's speaking about Arsenal in terms of City and the pressure of going for a league title and this guy, man, like you're not that like really the price. A lot of football fans, not just Arsenal fans, but yeah, just yeah, Gary Neville, man. It is what it is, as they say, man. It is what it is. But let me come to the chat quickly because I see a couple of chats in there. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Keith's in there. Someone needs to check Ferguson's paper away, Mark. He's at least 30. He was. I can't believe that kid's 19. He's massive. Absolutely massive. Good prospect though for Brighton, man. Like it's mad. I mean, they're probably already planning for when potentially probably Alexis McAllister goes up. And they're talking about him going Liverpool. Moises Caicedo. I mean, the guy can play well at right back. It's ridiculous. But probably preparing them guys. I'll tell you what, if they do sell them two guys, they get a handsome bit of money for them. Absolutely. We finished after West Ham and Southampton matches. Yep, 100%. We was, and I tell you what, Matoma for Brighton, he gave Ben White a lesson in wing play. Second half, especially, he had him on. Yeah, there's a couple moments in the first half, he had him on toast, and then in the second half, he just drew him in. He pulled him on the outside. he toyed with him at times. I thought personally, Karen Matoma's a really good player, man. Well, I'll bring him to Arsenal to be honest. Keeps the chat, Jamie. Actually, I'll go as far as say Anfield game broker. Yeah, Creef, you know you're right. I think the Anfield game was a body blow, because you know how difficult it is to go to that ground and get a result. Not too many teams go there and win. That's the thing. Ghana was only good on that Super League issue. Oh god, I know. Yeah, yes, I was deflated, man, because what you wanted as an Arsenal fan, people. I'm not going to do a long one. 25 minutes in, wow. Is what you wanted Arsenal to do. And Big KC, Kevin Campbell's in the chat last time on my channel. Mad. But is you want us to take it to the last game of the season. Make them earn it, Man City. You know, they got a lot of distractions. Make them earn it. And we didn't even do that. It's disappointing. Now I've seen a lot of talk being spoken about in terms of, you know, whether is it Arsenal bottling the season, you know, they won't get a better chance, and there's so much debate. It's actually quite time consuming to listen to and watch. So I try to not. Well, I don't actually. To be honest, I don't sort of religiously watch what everybody has to say, because you're going to drive yourself mad as an Arsenal fan, because everybody's got an opinion, and obviously I'm in an industry where, you know, there are a lot of opinions. There's a lot of wind up merchant behavior. There's a lot of trolling. There's a lot of harsh facts. There's a lot of words thrown out there. And now people talk about it being a failure. That's the other two words. Failure and bottle jobs are the two main words that I've heard over recent weeks. If you're asking me what I think in terms of before the start of the season, I said Arsenal would get top four just, and I thought we'd finish ahead of Spurs. We've done that. They've also always, before I lose my train of thought, the thing is the aim was to get back into the Champions League, but they've done two metrics in one. So people talk about, you know, coming from a retail background, the old KPIs, your key performance indicators. So Arsenal get back into the Champions League. Not only that, they come runners up, and on top of that, they mount a title challenge. Nobody saw that coming. And what I say to some Arsenal fans, look, let me before I do, I'm going to come to my brother in the chat, Damien, man, my guy, man. Let me big up Damien, man. Great shows always, brother. Thank you, man. Love, bro. Listen, man, Sophie needs to bring me on with you, man. Definitely, sometime next season, women's game, men's game, whatever. Love Damien, man. Love you, bro. What I say to Arsenal fans, right? Whether you're in the YouTube world or not, or you consume YouTube or whatever as Arsenal fans, and I'm going to be honest, right? And I've had this conversation with a few people. It's very difficult not to get triggered by a lot of what you've seen this season. What I mean by that is, you guys would have seen it, and particularly with, I'd say, Man United fans, smaller YouTubers, bigger YouTubers, it's a constant goading. It's a constant. I wouldn't even call it banter. I would call it, it's the difference between banter and ridicule. A lot of ridiculing and the watch-alongs, and it's hard not to bite. It's human nature to just want to go and probably smack somebody or punch someone or to just give them a verbal battering. It's very difficult. I've seen it on the timeline this season. Someone as calm as I can be, yeah, there's been a couple of times I wanted to bite, because I like I said this before, and I said this on the Football Heritage channel, where I'm on a chat. I'll go on a channel with a different bunch of fans at, you know, United, Tottenham, Forest, Fulham, Villa, and I can take banter all day. I can have humor on my channel. I can watch a podcast and find things funny as well as good footballing debate. But what you see with a lot of Arsenal is, look, a lot of it's very premeditated, right? Because they're not happy with what their own clubs have done this season. That's the Tottenhams, the Man Uniteds and the Liverpools, right? Where they spent many, many years ridiculing Arsenal, they say to themselves, you know what? We're going to double down and we're going to go even harder. Even though we know Arsenal's doing well, we're just going to go down that route. We're going to stick with it. We're going to ridicule them. We're going to have them juicy thumbnails. We're just going to rip them. And that's only the YouTuber side of it. You've seen the likes of Richard Keys and other guys on Talksport they've just been at it the whole season. The whole season. So Arsenal fans, what I'd say, man, it's not easy because, like I said, to me, there's a fine line between ridicule and banter. Because, listen, when I was growing up here, when it comes to guys, yeah, when you have certain conversations, sometimes the conversation stop and then it becomes a conversation with a fist. But it's hard. Like just stick together as Arsenal fans. And I don't swear on my channel, man. But what I will say is, in regards to the rival fans that want to clip this and clip that and show this and show that, just don't give a toss, guys. Seriously, you know, they're not going to go away. They're going to keep on doing it, but just don't fall for it, man. Don't fall for it from certain section of the media. Don't fall for it particularly with some of the YouTubers, because you know what, in the long run, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. They're not going to change their mind. You got. And the thing you got to bear in mind is as well, yeah, they're rival fans. They don't want us to do well. Don't get me wrong. I know plenty of fans that do not support Arsenal that can have good, fantastic, brilliant footballing debate, and there'd be no banter or ridiculing and all this. But unfortunately, people know how to work YouTube, man, and the platform in general. But let me come to the chat quickly, man. Let me see my people. Yeah, damn it. Yeah, you text them. I've got enough Sophie done bread with, but she's a busy woman, man. She's always apologizing to me. I've never met a woman who apologized to me so much. I could get used to that, man, to be honest with you. But come to chat as well. Again, I just missed another chat there from Jenny. Speak to Gunnar Russ and link about opinions in the ground yesterday. Yeah, Jenny, I was I I've heard it all season, to be fair. This is not just applicable to yesterday. One thing I've learned actually, yeah, I'll be honest with you, Jenny, and people in the chat, is I do obviously I do stuff on my channel, but I do some stuff for other channels as well. One thing I've actually learned, and this might sound strange, but it's not, is to talk less about the game afterwards, to talk less about the game with other fans outside the stadium. Trust me. Because some of the things I hear, I'm like, are you serious? Like, I cannot. It's weird because it's almost like the dynamic it's almost like Arsenal fans want to hear what you want to say, but they don't want to hear what you want to say. So it's like, well, what do you want me? What do you want? Why are you asking my opinion if you don't even want to listen to what I'm got to say? I'm not saying you have to agree with me, but just what's the point in asking? It's crazy, absolutely crazy. But listen, I will do some more shows in regards to sort of. I think what it is. I had this conversation. I met up with Potsy before the game. Go on, Potsy, 12th Man podcast. And I felt like this for a few weeks. I got to be honest. It gets that stage of the season where you just need to recharge the batteries. Football season's a long season anyway, but this one's been very different for us as Arsenal fans because we're in the league title run race for a large chunk of the season with only 2-3 games to go. And it does take a lot out of you emotionally. You'd be a fool to lie and say that it doesn't, because it does. And for us as Arsenal fans, because it's been such a long time, the season feels a little bit longer. And I think I mentioned it a few weeks ago. I just want the season to be done now, whatever happens, because I think we just need to dust ourselves off and go again. Arsenal fans have been saying for many, many years, right? They wanted the league title challenge. They got it. You can sit here and talk about bottle jobs. You can sit here and talk about failure. leave that to likes of Talksport, Piers Morgan, whatever other broadcaster or football is debating it. I actually couldn't give a toss right now, to be honest, because some of them didn't play for Arsenal. Some of them have no affiliation with Arsenal. Some of them don't even like Arsenal. So what the bloody hell am I going to listen to their opinion for? Whether it's a failure or whatever. Listen, there's a lot of good journos that have said, look, it's a bit disingenuous. Darren Lewis has spoke well of Arsenal. Miguel Delaney, I think for the Guardian, spoke well of Arsenal. Hopefully you guys can hear me because I can see my Wi-Fi sign come up in the corner. Let me give us a thumbs up, people. But I think we're back. I think we're back all right though. We're back all right now. But yeah, listen, people have been saying for many seasons it's a big summer window. For me, they weren't, because you should be addressing certain areas of the pitch anyway. But unfortunately, Arsenal have got a poor track record of doing that. But this one is a big summer. This is massive because they're back in the Champions League. The Cronkies can't hide behind the fact that talking about saying things like, you know, a Champions League budget in the Europa League, them kind of phrases, you can't say that now because we're back in the Champions League. Arteta needs to be backed even more, and they do think he's the right man. So whether Arsenal fans want to sit here and cry and moan about Arteta and he can't be trusted with the money, be quiet, because he's not going anywhere. Do you want to go and sit on other people's channels or sit in the chat boxes and slam Arsenal fans because they don't come across with a line of thinking and your losers and standards? And I'd respectfully say to him, if they're talking to me, just shut the hell up. I was going to say something else, but because it's one channel, I'm not going to swear, man. But yeah, listen, this is a massive summer, man. We're back in the Champions League. The excuses, there's no more excuses for our hierarchy. In terms of recruitment, and I said this in January, or let me rephrase that again. So I said this when the links with Caicedo and the links with Declan Rice, I don't care how much it costs them. Even if Arsenal and Arsenal fans, don't shoot me for this, but there's logic to what I'm saying. No disrespect to Granit Xhaka and Thomas Partey, right? They're not over the hill as men, right? But in terms of looking at Arsenal long-term and short-term, we need to address the central midfield areas, because for what I think it's shown for me this season, if combined with a little bit of squad depth, the likes of Xhaka and Partey should not be 100% that these guys are first teamers for next season. Absolutely not. Put down the money for Rice and Moises Caicedo. I don't want to hear none of this debate about one or the other. If it happens to be the case, it happens to be the case. People talk about Zubamendi from Real Sociedad, good player, would be cheaper. I don't care. Just put the money down and address the central midfield areas of our football team, because it's been neglected too much, or we've addressed it, but the quality isn't the required level. End of story. Put the money down for Caicedo and Declan Rice. Facts. 21 respectively, 24 respectively. Premier League proven. None of this, you have to go watch YouTube videos. These guys have been playing in front of you for, in Caicedo's case, this season, Declan Rice, 2, 3, 4 years, however long he's been at West Ham. Would transform our midfield. Get a right back in. Have our main 4 centre backs: Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, Kivior. 2 left footers, 2 right footers. Kieran Tierney, do I think he's going to stay? No. Do I want him to stay? 100% yes. Champions League football. Anybody that has done their homework with Alexander Zinchenko, go and look at his injury record at Manchester City. We need to keep Kieran Tierney, trust me. Even with Kieran Tierney's injury record, funny enough, all this, he doesn't fit Arteta's system. I don't care. Bring him in. Keep it. I'd love to keep him here, personally. Right back. Definitely right back in for the season. And go and get a forward. Arsenal need 4 or 5 players. If I don't see 5 players come in, 4 straight 5 players come in, this summer, then I have to ask questions. Has to be the case, and that's tough. And that factor in also who we need to ship out and bomb out. Arsenal need to make some ruthless decisions. If an ESR, a Rob Holding, a Reece Nelson are not part of your plans, they shouldn't be at the football club. End of story. I don't do sentiment FC. People know me. I don't do sentiment. Yes, if an Arsenal player is wearing the Arsenal shirt, of course I bloody well want him to do well. But if he's surplus to requirements, you move them on. No contract negotiations. Take whatever money you can get and run. I said this with Balogun. Arsenal, I think, will sell him. He's made it clear that he wants first team football. He's not going to get that at Arsenal. If Arsenal are going to go for the higher echelon of player that has been touted around, and you're going to hear a lot of names in the summer, people, a lot of names. Arsenal are going to have to be bullish and aggressive in the transfer market. They have to be, because traditionally, I don't think they have been. The deals take too long. The identifying a spot and take too long. Got to be the right characters as well. But let me come to chat. I'm going to wrap up, people, man. It's just MA, the best fan I know. Yeah, Jenny, you know what? Like I said, man, I think this summer, this one's different because we're back in the Champions League, and they can't be using that excuse anymore because we're back in the Champions League. I think the only thing that concerns me about the Champions League is, and I've mentioned this before, is we're almost going to have to reinvent ourselves. And what I mean by that is we're going to have to take baby steps again. Because if you're going by what you saw in Europa League campaigns over the years, a final, semi-final, we haven't been good enough to win that. And it's going to be better quality of opposition for the Champions League. So we're going to have to take baby steps and learn very, very quickly when we're back in that competition, because better quality of opposition. So our squad depth is going to need to be a lot better. That goes without saying. But people in the chat, thank you for your amazing interaction. All your listeners, you will hear my dulcet tones reading out everybody's comments in the chat box. Big up to those on Twitter if you're watching it and retweeted it. And also, I will clip this on my Twitter later, and also put this on audio forms on all social media platforms. So, people, if I can find their outro, and that'll be more helpful. But listen, we've got 2 more games left for the season. Finish those strong. From Nottingham Forest away, Forest are going to be up for it because they get a point or a victory. They're safe. They're more or less safe. They can go to Palace and relax and chill. But hopefully I'll have a match preview for Forest versus Arsenal. I'll have to confirm the date. It might be done Wednesday, it might be Thursday. I'm not too sure yet. Got a Forest fan coming on. Absolute legend. Love him. He's called Dave. So look out for that, people. And we go to chat quickly. Jenny, virtual hug, kiss, and everything. Thank you. People, like I said, smash the like button like you normally do. And obviously subscribe to Albert JTV. The people, if you don't know what to do by now, this is what you should do. And there you have it, people. Surround funky intro and to subscribe to Albert JTV. But people, yeah, man, listen, it's gone. It's gone. The game's done. It was a bruising defeat. And like I said, walked out the stadium stunned yesterday. But that's football. Trials and tribulations has been a football fan, hey? But people, as I said, match review done for Albert JTV. Arsenal 0, Brighton 3. Arsenal have run out of steam and their title ambitions are not over mathematically, but Manchester City have got Chelsea next, so I don't expect too many miracles there. But people, it's Albert JTV over and out. Match review. Arsenal 0, Brighton 3. We will see you soon again for a preview for Nottingham Forest away. Over and out, people.